Hi, this is your Ate Merlyn Guillermo, and I'm going to share with you this week a very familiar story about David and Goliath. I took this from Max Lucado's Facing the Giants. Reading from Psalm 17:40-47. Then he took his staff in his hand, chose 5 smooth stones from the stream, put them in the pouch of his shepherd's bag, and with his sling in his hand approached the Philistine. Meanwhile, the Philistine, with his shield bearer in front of him, kept coming closer to David. He looked David over and saw that he was little more than a boy, glowing with health and handsome. And he despised him. He said to David, "Am I a dog that you come at me with sticks?" And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. "Come here," he said, "and I'll give your flesh to the birds and the wild animals." David said to the Philistine, "You come against me with sword and spear and javelin, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty, the God of the armies of Israel, whom you have defiled. This day the Lord will deliver you into my hands, and I'll strike you down and cut off your head. This very day I will give the carcasses of the Philistine army to the birds and the wild animals, and the whole world will know that there is a God in Israel. All those gathered here will know that it is not by sword or spear that the Lord saves, for the battle is the Lord's, and He will give all of you into our hands." You know what? Goliath still roam around, especially during this pandemic. There are debts, utang, disaster, dialysis, danger, disease, depression, and you know what? We are carried away with all these Goliaths in our lives. Subalit sa aking pag-aaral, dapat hindi po tayo ma-dominate nitong mga nakakatakot na Goliath. Kaya nating harapin ang mga higanting ito sa pamagitan po ng paglapit natin sa Panginoon, katulad po ng ginawa ni David. So, my dear brethren, if you focus on the giants, you will stumble. You will be defeated. But if you focus on God, the giants will stumble. The giants will die, will be killed, and you will have victory. So alam natin, David took 5 smooth stones in the streams, in the river. So may nagtanong sa akin, bakit kumuha pa si David ng 5 stones? Parang wala siyang pananampalataya sa ating Panginoon. But you know, reading from this story, we can find 5 answers to that question. So let's use our 5 fingers in the 5 stones that David got, no? So, remind that the thumb is the stone of the past. David remembered that God had given him strength to wrestle against lion and bear. That's a good memory. That's why he became a hero, because he kept on remembering what God did to him in the past. What about you? Ano pong nalaala mo ginawa ng Diyos sa iyo in the past? Ako, marami akong stories what God has done in the past. So always remember what God did in the past. Like what was written in 1 Chronicles 16:12, remember His marvelous works which He has done. Second, the point finger. This is the stone of prayer. Don't face your giant without prayer. Apostle Paul wrote in Ephesians 6:18, prayer is essential in this ongoing warfare. Pray hard and long. So mga kapatid, ito pong reminder sa atin, pray without ceasing. Pray hard and long. And then in Psalm 59:16, it says, David turned toward God, "You have been my defense and refuge in the day of my trouble." What about the tallest finger? That's the stone of priority. Let your tallest finger remind you of your highest priority. What's your highest priority? God's reputation. David jealously guarded it. No one was going to defame his Lord. David fought that all the earth may know that there is a God in Israel. Then all this assembly shall know that the Lord does not save with sword and spear or javelin, but the battle is the Lord. Kapatid, ano man ang kinakaharap mo ngayon, tandaan mo that God's reputation, that He is sovereign, He is almighty, He is in control, He is very powerful. That's what we declare, diba? So, remember God's reputation, His attributes. What about the ring finger? That's a stone of passion. So, let your ring finger remind you to take up the stone of passion. You know what? David's passion, he ran towards the Goliath. He did not run away. Most of the Israelites during that time, they ran away because they were afraid of Goliath. But David, what did David do? He ran towards Goliath. So even though you are facing the giant right now, face the giant. Face the giant. Don't be afraid. And then the small finger, that's the stone of persistence. David didn't think one rock would do. He knew Goliath had 4 relatives or 5 siblings, other siblings. David was ready for anything that may happen to him. So let's imitate him. Never give up. One prayer might not be enough. You may get knocked down at a time or 2, but don't quit. Keep loading the rocks with prayer. And then, you know what? When you are ready, when you are always in your knees praying, don't be afraid, because what David, when he took that 5 stones, he made 5 decisions. And do likewise. The past, remember the past. Remember to always pray. And then your priority is God's reputation, that He is in control. And then the passion, and then the persistence. So, my dear brother, I hope next time when you face Goliath, always bring the stone of these 5 stones with you. What are those? The past, remember the past. And then prayer, priority is God's reputation, your passion to kill that Goliath, and then persistence to go on and on in your faith in the Lord. So, the Goliath will always be there, but in spite of that, just always think that the God is there. Bring along the 5 stones with you. So once again, I hope to see you next week in our weekly devotion. God bless.
Good day. Be a channel of blessing and be part of a worldwide call of bringing people back to the Bible. For donation, account name, the presiding elder of the Philippine Bible Broadcasters Apostolate Incorporated. BDO Savings, account number 408-009-227. BPI Current, account number 4431-000-577. PNB Current, account number 1059-7000-1209.